passing marks are for answering the questions, on the topics, on the subjects. So there is a theory and there is a oral examination. It is called as viva. So in the viva, a viva was going on, and there was a very poor, not studying so much, medical student, and the examiner, anatomy examiner, was having the uterus in his hand, and he was asking, okay, so what's this? So the student was not able to identify it. Okay, so he said, I'll give you a hint. Neither you have it, nor I have it. So the student said, brain. So, you see, there can be other things from brain, like the uterus, for example. All of us we don't have it. So, something is going on in the uterus which is causing some changes. Okay? I think it is called as rahim. Rahim. So, the changes which are occurring inside, along with the changes in the ovaries. The reproductive age of a female begins from her first menstrual cycle, okay, lasting up to, which is called as menarche, by the way, and lasting up to that particular age when she ceases, when she stops to have those periods any longer, which is called as menopause. It's all written here, by the way. So, this reproductive age of the female, she will be having these two cycles. Non-pregnant females, of course. If a pregnancy has occurred, taken place in that particular female, there won't be any menstrual cycles or ovarian cycles going on. So, during reproductive years, non-pregnant females experience a cyclical change of events or cyclical chain of events or changes. Okay? And each cycle takes about 1 month. For study purposes, we say it's a cycle lasting 28 days. But it's not like that. Every human being is different. Similarly, every female is different, and the cycle from one female to another will be different in some way or the other. But again, for study purposes, we say it's a 28-day cycle. This involves the process of formation and development of the oocytes and oogenesis in the ovary, okay, and preparation of the uterus to receive the fertilized ovum. I hope you know the arrangement of the female internal genitalia.
Yes.
Okay, so there is a uterus, okay, and there are two fallopian tubes. At the end of the fallopian tube, there are two ovaries. So all of them, all this setup, that's why it's called an internal genitalia of the female, the reproductive organs of the female. They are all abdominal, right? Inside the abdomen. So the two ovaries, they will be undergoing the cyclical change so that a mature ovum, a mature egg is formed and given out. Now this mature egg is being taken in by the fimbrial end of the fallopian tubes, and through the fallopian tubes they will be traveling into the uterus. Okay? Now, if it's a married female, for our culture, if it's a married female, okay, and if the sperm are available at that particular time, the sperm will fertilize the egg in the level of the fallopian tubes itself. If there is no fertilization, the egg will continue down, okay, into the uterus. It's the normal path. If it is fertilized, it has to come into the uterus and stick to it. It's called as implantation. Implantation into the wall. Okay, and there it will grow into become an infant, become a child, become, of course, a zygote first, okay, then the fetus and so on and so forth, becoming a baby. All of us. If there is no fertilization, still it will come into the ovum, unfertilized egg, unmarried female, that is called her, and nothing has occurred. So the uterus, which is preparing itself to receive the fertilized egg, because there is no fertilization, it's like, let me put it in a very simple manner, that you are building a room, okay, or a place for arrival of a guest.
Okay.
You are putting up on the walls everything, decorating it, keeping all the nutritional food and drinks, etc. ready so that the guest will come. Okay? But if the guest doesn't come, you have to throw away all the food and all the preparation that has been done. Isn't it?
Yes.
Just destroy it and throw it away. So this preparation is going on in the uterus every month. Every month. That is what is the uterine cycle. Okay? So the menstrual cycle is comprising of the uterine cycle, which is occurring in the uterus, and the ovarian cycle, which is going on in the ovaries. Like I have told you, the uterine cycle and the ovarian cycle. So shall we go ahead? That's the
Yes.
introductory part.
Yes.
Now we will go to another introduction, a little bit of that, which is in the ovaries. Now the ovaries in the female fetus. What is the fetus?
Fetus.
Small fetus. A growing human being
After
inside the mother, inside the uterus. That is called the fetus. So if it's a female fetus, okay, that female fetus will have the ovaries also. What about the ovaries and what about the eggs inside the female? So the females, they are having a limited number of eggs. Okay? Initially, if it, in the fetal stage, okay, there are many primordial cells, many inside the ovaries. At birth, at the time of birth of the female baby, the ovary contains about 1 to 2 million primary oocytes. They are called as primary oocytes. They will become an egg later on. Okay? At puberty, what's puberty? What's this word, puberty? Is what?
Being
Adult.
full, being full.
Yes, conversion of a child, a preteen into a teenager, right? A boy into a man, we can say, or a girl into a woman, sort of. Isn't it?
Yes.
And the age is around 12 years,
12.
12 to 13 years.
Yes.
But there is a range. There is a range. It can be as low as 7 to 8 years for girls. We are talking about girls now. 7 to 8 years for girls, as low as, and can be as high as up to 15 years also, depending upon diet, environmental conditions, and many other factors are there. But the average age is about 12 years. So that's puberty. At puberty, only about 300,000 oocytes remain in her ovaries. And not only that, how much is she actually giving out, the eggs, during her reproductive age? It's only about 400 to 500. How? It's very easy to calculate. I mean, the number of eggs are very much limited in a female. Only about 400 to 500 she will give out. Again, how? Say, 12 years to 52 years. How many years? 40
38.
40 years. Right?
38.
12 to 52.
40.
That's the, I'm talking about averages.
Yes.
Reproductive age of a female. So how much?
40.
years. Every month, one egg is given out. Again, mostly, one egg is given out every month. So in a
12
year,
months.
12. 12 into 40. Okay? If you say 10, it becomes 400. Isn't it?
Yes.
So it's very easy calculation. So only about 4 to 500 of the primordial follicles develop enough to expel their ova, one each month. The remainder, what happens to the remainder? They degenerate. And the process is called as atresia. Atresia. They become atretic. They become atretic. Atretic from the process called as atresia. S-I-A. Instead of T-I-C, S-I-A. Atresia means degeneration. Become small and disappear. Okay? Just I want to cover that much. Let's not talk about the meiosis and all those things. Okay, sufficient for you?
Yes.
Let us go ahead. The actual process of menstruation. Menstruation means the actual bleeding that occurs in the female. That process is called as
Ministration.
menstruation. Menstruation is also called as menstrual bleeding, menses, a period, like I have told you, simple, a period, she's having her periods, or catamania. The flow of menses normally serves as a sign that a woman has not become pregnant, isn't it? If she is having menses, she is not pregnant. Conversely speaking, if your wife missed her period, you should be alert. If she misses 2 periods, then you should definitely get her checked for the
Pregnancy.
good news that she's pregnant. Isn't it?
So menses mean stop bleeding.
Menses means bleeding.
Bleeding.
Yep.
How it sounds. Again,
It's very simple. Yeah.
bleeding.
If she is bleeding,
Yes.
she is not pregnant.
I think you say menses it's signs for pregnancy.
If there is no bleeding,
Okay.
if there is no bleeding,
But there's no
sign of
menses.
pregnancy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Mostly. It's a married female. Okay? Now, a woman's first menstruation is termed menarche. First, the child is having her first bleeding. She has attained puberty, around say 12 or 13 years of age. The first time she bleeds, that is called as
Mana.
menarche.
Mana.
And the stoppage, what did I tell you? And when she has stopped bleeding anymore, maybe around 51 or 52 years of age, that is called as
Menopause.
menopause. Pause. You know? Menopause. Stop. Okay. And in one of the later stages of puberty in girls, so puberty begins a little bit earlier. Okay? It will, the later, so it's a transitional stage. Okay? And in the later stages of puberty, the menstruation will occur. The average age of menarche is 12 years. It can be anywhere between 8 to 16 years, and there are factors overall which are affecting. Cessation means stoppage, called as menopause. Another term which I would like to introduce you to is eumenorrhea. Eumenorrhea means normal menstruation. Okay? So there are other terms like amenorrhea. If you say there is no bleeding for the woman. Maybe some problem. Maybe amenorrhea because of pregnancy, which is very normal, or amenorrhea because of other reasons. Okay, hormonal problems with the uterus. There are a number of things. Okay, so amenorrhea, no bleeding. Eumenorrhea, normal. Menorrhagia, excessive bleeding. Denotes normal regular menstruation that lasts for a few days, usually 3 to 5 days, but anywhere from 2 to 7 days is considered normal. This is, Islamically speaking, the duration is different. Okay? The duration is different. This is according to the scientific aspect, that if it is 2 to 7 days, it is normal. Less as 2 days. Average blood loss is 35 milli. But again, 10 to 80 milli is again considered normal. So the female is losing blood every month, isn't it? Naturally, her requirement for synthesis of the blood and blood components will be more as compared to a male, isn't it? In common sense, logic says.
Yes.
So women have a higher dietary requirement for iron than males to prevent iron deficiency. And this is the same reason why usually females suffer from iron deficiency anemia. Okay? Iron deficiency anemia. Particularly women belonging to lower socio-economic strata of the society, I mean section of the society. Okay? Lower, poor people. If we look at the 28 day, like I have told you, it's a 28-day cycle, isn't it? So let's look at it. 1 to 4 days, the menstrual phase. What is the menstrual phase? Yeah, menstruation, during which menstruation occurs. Second is, now there are both the things are written here. Like I've told you, one cycle going on in the ovaries, another going on in the uterus. So both the names are here. Follicular phase. This is our folliculogenesis. Follicles are where? In the
Ovary.
So follicular phase in the ovary, also known as proliferative phase. Proliferative phase in the uterus. Okay. Proliferation. What is the meaning of the word proliferation? To grow. To grow. Proliferate means grow, increase in number. So proliferation occurring in the uterine lining, uterine endometrium. Okay. This is 5 to 13 days. Again, let me tell you, emphasize this point, that these numbers and these things are for study. Doesn't mean it will happen like this only. Okay? Changes are there. In every human being, everything is different. Even let me tell you in the beginning itself that here we say ovulation is occurring on the 14th day. But recent researchers say that ovulation that means ovulation we are saying, or till now, knowledge says, science says that ovulation occurs only once in a month. But now recent knowledge says ovulation can occur twice or maybe 3 times in a month. Okay? Then this is just, I am giving you the latest updates. But for you, for our understanding, and in the books also right now, this is the stuff. So let's stick to it. Okay? Ovulation. Next phase is ovulation. It's not a phase but an event dividing the phases. And this is occurring on the 14th day of a 28-day cycle. So 14 days, so 14 here and 14 here. And this is an event which is occurring. Right? So this is the phase of proliferation in the uterus and phase of follicular growth. So in the ovaries. Similarly, there is the secretory phase. That which has grown is converting into secretory now. Instead of growing, it will stop growing and turn into secretion.
So the 14th day for ovulation cycle or
Yeah,
for ovulation
it
cycle.
is called as ovulation, day of ovulation. Secretory phase, and in the ovaries it is called as the luteal phase. Whereas the last is the ischemic phase. Ischemic phase, ischemia basically means decreased blood flow. Okay? Ischemia can be anywhere in the body, like in the heart, myocardial ischemia, MI, very serious thing. So ischemia means lack of or cessation of blood flow. Ischemic phase, and some sources, some books, some textbooks group this with the secretory phase. So they make it together. What are the phases? What are the phases?
Menstruation.
Number 1, menstrual phase. It can be 1 to 4, almost like 4 to 5 days. Okay. Next comes follicular phase. One in the ovary, one in the uterus. In the ovary, follicular phase, because while the follicle is growing, it is maturing. It is going to become an egg. So it's called as the follicular.
At the same time.
At the same nafs al-waqt. Okay. This is not like 1 month for the ovaries, then rest, and another month for the uterus. No, at the same time. We are talking about the menstrual cycle. So follicular phase, development of follicle in the ovary. At the same time, in the uterus, proliferative phase. What is proliferating? The uterine endometrium. You know the word term endometrium. Endometrium means, endo means inside. The inside-most lining, okay, histological layer of the
Uterus.
that is called endometrium. So proliferative phase. Next is ovulation. After that, again in the ovary, luteal phase, and in the uterus, secretory phase. Okay. So it's here, the picture. This is actually a magnified, cut section of the uterine wall. So this much is the thickness of the muscle. Actually, the uterus is made up of a smooth muscle, isn't it? It's a bag, it's a pouch made up of smooth muscle, muscular pouch. And it will become very big to accommodate the baby. It will stretch, isn't it? And at the time of birth, at the time of labor, also called as parturition. This muscle will go into contractions. That is the contractions, the pains that the labor pains that the female feels, isn't it? And when it will contract, it will push the baby out. So it's a muscular pouch. Look at the thickness of the muscle, isn't it? So this is the myometrium. Myo means muscle. Myometrium, that particular layer in which the muscles are there, myometrium. Okay? These are the arteries, etc., and you can see the rich blood supply to the uterus coming in. This is the endometrium, this particular layer. And what is this? This is the lumen. Lumen yani the body. Like I have said, it's a pouch, it's a bag, isn't it? So it will have a hollow cavity inside, isn't it? So this particular is the, and this is the endometrium. So the endometrium will become bigger and bigger. So again, what I have told you, this is a summary of the same thing, the uterine cycle. Okay, so menses, degeneration of the endometrium. So in this picture that we have seen, this particular endometrium, it will degenerate and fall off. Degeneration and menstruation, yani bleeding. Proliferative phase is under the effect of estrogens. So now here we are being introduced to the control, the hormonal control. That means these hormones should be there in normal quantities in the female for all these things to happen. Okay? So estrogen is basically causing the proliferative change in the uterine endometrium. In other words, under the influence of estrogen, the uterine endometrium will grow, will proliferate. Okay? Restoration of the endometrium. Restoration means build it back once again. Build it back because it is gone. It is flowing away. Isn't it? Flowing out of the body. Right? In the menses. In the menses. So uterine and the ovarian cycle together, they are clubbed together and called as the menstrual cycle. And the menstrual cycle for study purposes begins with first day of menstruation. Don't forget that. Okay? It's a cycle. It's a cyclical change. It is having a point of beginning and then a point of end. And this cycle will keep on repeating again and again. What is the point of beginning of the cycle? The first day of menses. So that's how it is, isn't it? So we begin with menses. In menses, what happens? There is degeneration of the endometrium and bleeding. Next what will happen? It is all destroyed, it is all gone, so it will build up again. So there will be proliferation. That means restoration. And this is under the effect of estrogen. Then next is, once it has grown appropriately to appropriate thickness, nutrition should be there. So secretory changes in the endometrium. Secretory changes in the endometrium. This is called the secretory phase. And it is under the effect of the hormone progesterone. So progesterone will cause the proliferative endometrium to become secretory, and the secretions will be nutritional in nature. Okay? Endometrial glands enlarge. Their growth is dependent on estrogen growth. But once it is growing, it will become bigger and more nutritious under the effect of progesterone. Enlarge and accelerate their rate of secretion. So this is the uterus. Okay, these are the fallopian attachment of the fallopian tubes, and this is the cervix of the uterus. What is the cervix of the uterus? There is the external os, there is an internal os. Okay, and this is the body. The egg will come from the fallopian tube, from this side or from this side, isn't it? This layer, now what is this? This layer? Myometrium. This is the muscle, isn't it? And this white layer is called as the endometrium. So in every menstrual cycle, during menses, the white layer, it will degenerate, it will break away. and the correct word is slough.
Slow.
S-L-O-U-G-H, slough, sloughing off, okay?
Uh-huh.
And it will flow out,
Mm-hmm.
out of the body. Now, this is the first picture. In the second picture, you see it is growing, isn't it? And this is the histological picture. This is the normal. This is the growing. Look at the proliferation, isn't it? This is the endometrial gland. The endometrial glands here and the endometrial glands here. Basilar zone of the endometrium, and here is the basilar zone. So this is the degree of proliferation. Here this much, here this much, isn't it? And in this case, it has grown even more, right? Look at this. And look at the changes. Here there are no glands available, but here you can see the glands, isn't it? All the glands. These glands are secretory in nature. Okay? So the phases are also written. This is the menstrual phase, or at the end of the menstrual phase, because it is completely sloughed off. Okay? Then the proliferative phase and the secretory phase. This is under estrogen. This is under progesterone. Okay? At the same time, there are changes occurring in the ovary. In the ovary, the proliferative phase coincides with follicular phase, and the secretory phase coincides with luteal phase. Okay? So through the influence of a rise in follicle stimulating hormone. Now what? So follicle. What's a follicle? That particular egg, which is not yet an egg, that particular cell, you can say, which will become an egg. Is that it? It's called as a follicle. Primordial follicle, germinating follicle, okay? Later on it is called as the Graafian follicle, and the Graafian follicle then ruptures and gives out the egg or the ovum. So that particular structure which is growing in the ovary is called as a follicle. Okay? Now, for growth of the follicle, there is a hormone which is called as follicle stimulating hormone. Okay? So it's very easy to remember and understand, right? So FSH. FSH, under the influence of FSH, the follicle will grow. Okay? And through the influence of a rise in the FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, 5 to 7 tertiary stage. Tertiary means final stage. Primary, secondary, tertiary. Isn't it? Third place. So tertiary stage ovarian follicles are recruited. Recruited means stimulated, activated at the same time for entry into the next menstrual cycle. So what is happening in the uterus? In the uterus, the menses is going on, isn't it? And after the menses, estrogen is secreted, and estrogen is causing proliferation, growth of the uterine endometrium. Correct?
Yeah.
Uterine lining. At the same time, FSH coming from the pituitary is affecting the ovary, so that for the next cycle, there is growth of the follicle. Okay? Growth and maturation of the follicle. These follicles, okay, not one follicle is starting to grow. 4, 5, more than 5 follicles are beginning to mature at the same time.
I didn't understand the last sentence, 5 to 7, 30 stage.
I am coming to that. So, when follicle stimulating hormone is being secreted, okay, at least these are the numbers. That is what I am trying to clarify. That it's not only one follicle which will be
Growing
in the beginning.
Yeah.
In the beginning will be growing. Okay, 5 to 7 follicles are under the influence of FSH begin to grow. Begin to grow. Okay, but that particular follicle which responds first, which begins to grow first, out of the 5, 7, say 5 for example, out of the 5, the follicle which begins to grow first later on becomes the dominant follicle. Dominant. And the remaining, however they are, 4, 5, 6 number, they will degenerate. Okay? And only one will keep on growing to the later stages. and become the mature follicle and give out the egg. Okay?
Competition.
Yeah, you can say sort of. Okay? Always a competition. So, yep.
When the woman have a twin,
Let us come to those things later. Let us talk about the normal. First, understand the normal things. Okay, that is also normal. I am not saying it's diseased or abnormal, but it's not. Yani, it's an additional knowledge. Suffice it to say that 2 follicles will be growing. Okay, how that happens? There are various explanations for that. These follicles, which keep on growing, and that's a process called as folliculogenesis. Genesis means making something, to generate something, to grow something. They will compete with each other for dominance. Okay? But that one, which responded to the FSH first, which started to grow first, becomes the dominant one. Okay? And the others will undergo atresia. So here it's written, like you are asking, occasionally 2 will dominate. Maybe 2 will respond first at the same time. So both will continue to grow. Because, like I have told you, who will dominate? Say out of the 5, who will dominate? The one which has responded to the stimulus first. Usually, only one responds to the stimulus first. The others also respond, but they are a little bit slow to respond to the stimulus. So all of them will keep on growing, but the dominant one will dominate and the others will regenerate. Sometimes 2 follicles will respond simultaneously. So out of the 7, 2 are equal in everything. So both of them, I mean, they cannot dominate one another because they are equal in everything.
Sometimes more than 2.
Sometimes 8. Sometimes 8. Okay, have you heard of octuplets? Yes, there are octuplets also.
Atresia.
Atresia, like I have told you, is degeneration. Yeah? Atretic.
Okay, that's
Shall we
really
go ahead? Shall we go ahead?
More than one follicles.
Hmm?
It's quite valid. More than one follicles.
What, more than one follicle?
Yeah.
What?
Just one of this.
Will become dominant. The others will become atretic or undergo atresia. Okay? So now the pictorial, what I have described to you just now, like we had seen the picture in case of the uterine lining, isn't it? We saw a picture about the proliferative phase and the secretory phase. Similarly, in the ovary, folliculogenesis. So this is the ovary, okay, and this is the small section which we magnify here. So this is the primary oocyte. You can see 1, you can see 2, you can see a third one. Isn't it? Can you see this circle?
Yeah.
This is the primary oocyte. Follicular cells. So the primordial follicles in the egg nest. So this is the step 1. Next comes the primary follicles. These are the primordial and these are the primary. Okay? In the primary follicles, as you can see, well, differentiation. The differentiation is more than the first one. Isn't it? It's very, very primitive. So this is more differentiated. Step 2, the secondary follicle. Now here you can see the follicle this much. Here a single follicle. Maybe this is the dominant follicle. Okay? Now this is whole structure is called as a follicle. Here you can see the nucleus of the primary oocyte. This is the primary oocyte. You know what is this primary oocyte? Oocyte means what? A cell which is not yet mature and which will become the ovum in the future. So now you understand what is the difference between ovum and a follicle? Ovum and a follicle. So you can say ovum is developing inside the follicle, right? And the whole follicle is developing inside the ovary, right? And what we were talking about initially, like there are 1 to 2 million. So what are those 1 to 2 million? Follicles, isn't it? In their primary, very primary primitive stages. So this is how. So this is the tertiary follicle.
On side before ovum.
Yeah.
Side.
Yeah, this one. So this is the whole follicle, as you can see. Look at the size of the follicle here. The follicle still inside the ovary, isn't it? Look at it. From here to here to here, the follicle is growing. It becomes very, very big. It becomes very, very mature. Okay? And once it becomes very, very mature, it will rupture. Okay? Its wall will rupture, and secondary oocyte within the corona radiata, this is the follicular fluid, etc., etc. Process of evolution. As you can see here, this is a real picture. This is a artistic drawing. So this is the ruptured tertiary follicle, and the ruptured tertiary follicle is giving out a structure which is containing the released secondary oocyte and what is the corona radiata, which is surrounding. Again, it's very simple to understand. Coronal yani outside, okay, like a crown. Radiata, which is radiating yani from the center outside, isn't it? So this particular structure, which is surrounding the primary
Called coronary DA.
oocyte, the secondary oocyte. The secondary oocyte is called as the
Coronary DA.
corona radiata. So we go back a bit just to orient ourselves. See here, isn't it? What is this? This is a tertiary follicle. Tertiary follicle. Okay? Inside the
Ovary.
ovary. Once it comes out, once it comes out, it is
Secondary
released, and it is called as the secondary oocyte, and it is the ruptured follicle. And this is having the corona radiata here. Now, look at the ovary again. Now, this particular structure that is remaining behind, what is this structure? What is this structure previously? It was a follicle,
Yeah.
isn't it? Now, it's a follicle without, yeah, because it is ruptured and it has given out.
Yeah.
This structure, which remains behind, as you can see, it is yellow in color. Okay? And from the yellowish coloration, the name luteum is given to it. Okay? Luteum, like lipid. Luteum, like
Lipid.
lipid. Lipids, are yellowish in color, fats. Hence, this structure, which remains behind in the ovary, is called as corpus luteum. Okay? Corpus luteum. And from now onwards, this phase of the ovary starts, which is called as luteal phase. Luteal phase. So, before ovulation, this is ovulation, right? This is ovulation on the 14th day. So, before ovulation in the ovary, which phase? Follicular phase. Why? Because the follicle is growing. Right? Follicle is growing. Under the effect of which hormone? Hmm? Not estrogen. Many estrogen. Okay? FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, will stimulate the follicle to grow, and that phase is called as the follicular phase. Ovulation will occur. It will grow, but become mature so much that it will rupture and release the
Oocyte.
secondary oocytes. Okay? You can also call it as the ovum or the egg. It is released. Okay? That is ovulation. What remains behind is called as the
Luteum.
luteum. The correct or complete term is corpus luteum. And now the corpus luteum will keep on secreting progesterone. Okay? And that is called as the luteal phase of the ovarian cycle. Why luteal phase? Because of presence of corpus luteum. Okay? So this
Doctor,
is
varies the oocyte. Where does it go?
okay, let me finish this.
Hello.
I left it. Where I have left it? Where is the ovary? In the abdomen. Where is it? It's there in the abdomen. It's an abdominal thing. So when it gives out, it literally gives out in the abdomen. Okay? What remains behind is the corpus luteum. It will further degenerate, okay, and become corpus albicans. Now why albicans?
White.
Albino means white, isn't it? Albino means white. So it will lose its yellowish coloration and the chemical characteristics of that of the lipid. It becomes corpus albicans. So corpus albicans is the degenerated form of the corpus luteum. And this is just what I have told you about. In the follicular phase, FSH is acting on the ovarian follicles. At the same time, estrogen is acting on the uterine endometrium. So, their proliferation phase in the ovaries, follicular phase. Clear?
So estrogen is secreted by follicle.
No? We will see where it is coming from. During the follicular phase, the lining of the uterus thickens, stimulated gradually, increasing amounts of estrogen. Okay? Estrogens are secreting the follicles. Follicles are secreting the estrogen. Can we summarize the sequence of events? Yes. Can we summarize the sequence? Connect them because too many things are happening over here. I don't want you to get lost. Okay? So, there is a primordial or the primary follicle in the ovary. Okay? Hormone is coming from the pituitary. Which hormone?
FSH.
FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. It will cause 5 to 7 to 8, how many, 10 maybe, some, it will cause some follicles to grow. Out of them, one follicle will be dominant follicle. This follicle will keep on growing and maturing. While it is growing and maturing, it will also secrete estrogen. It will also synthesize and secrete estrogen. Synthesis and secretion of estrogen will have its effect on the uterine endometrium.
Yeah.
The uterine endometrium will grow, will proliferate. Okay? So, FSH is coming. It is affecting the follicles. It is causing maturation of the follicles. As soon as the follicle starts to mature, it will synthesize and secrete estrogen. Estrogen will go and affect the endometrium. Endometrium will also grow. So endometrium is growing, follicle is also growing. Okay? Endometrium will keep on growing up to 14 days. Right? Follicle will keep on growing up to 14 days. When it is mature enough, it will be so mature, so ripe, isn't it? That it will rupture, it will open up, and it will release the egg, the ovum, also called the secondary oocyte. Okay? Now once it is released, what remains behind is called as the corpus luteum. This is called as the event, which is the ovulation. Then corpus luteum, again inside the ovary, it will secrete
Corpus albicans.
it will secrete progesterone. Okay? And the progesterone will be affecting the uterine endometrium. There won't be any further proliferation or growth. Why? Because the follicle is now secreting progesterone. For growth, estrogen is necessary. So whatever growth has occurred, it will stop at that moment of time. Okay? And effect of progesterone will be there on the same endometrium. And it will convert the endometrium from proliferative to secretive. It will make it more thick and it will cause it to synthesize and secrete some secretions. Okay? Some secretions. Are you clear now? Okay? So the first hormone is FSH. Second hormone is estrogen. Third hormone is progesterone. There is one more hormone. Yeah, there is one more hormone called as luteinizing hormone. What is it called as? Luteinizing hormone. LH. LH is necessary for rupture and ovulation to occur, as we will see later on. So you are clear up to now?
Yes.
Okay? Ovulation. This brings us to ovulation and rupture. On the 14th day of the menstrual cycle, when the egg has matured, it secretes enough estradiol. Estradiol is another form of estrogen. Okay? To trigger to trigger the release of luteinizing hormone. The growing, you have to understand the sequence of events, okay? Estrogen is constantly being synthesized and secreted by the follicle. When it is nearing maturation, nearing 14th day, this will secrete so much amount of estrogen that it will trigger, okay, the release of LH, luteinizing hormone. Now, what does luteinizing hormone do? And okay, let me mention here that this release of LH is in huge quantities. It is sudden, acute yani sudden, occurring within a very short time, and too much. So something like this hormone is coming like a wave, okay? So, and it increases suddenly. Any sudden increase, what's the English word for that?
Acute.
No. Sudden increase, I am saying. Surge. Surge. S-U-R-G-E. Like electrical power surges, you know? Surge. Surge means to, like a wave, become too much in a very short time. Surge. So this event is called as LH surge. Is there a word here? Yeah, here. LH surge. LH surge. LH surge, yani sudden increase of the quantity of the LH hormone is necessary for ovulation to occur. In other words, if LH surge is not there, ovulation will be affected, may not occur even. Okay? So, in the average cycle, this LH surge starts around 12th day and lasts for about 48 days. Okay? Mostly, it is LH surge peaking on the 14th day. Peak yani highest concentration of luteinizing hormone is on the 13th or the 14th day. The release of LH matures the egg further, the follicle. It will be more mature. The egg inside, the ovum, it will also be more mature, and at the same time it will weaken the wall of the follicle. The egg is contained, the secondary oocyte is contained inside the follicle, right? The wall of the follicle should become weak so that it will rupture. This weakening is possible because of the higher levels of LH. Okay? Because of the LH surge. And hence the ovum is released from the ovary into the abdomen. Now here, if you see here, the LH that is coming, okay, it will affect the follicle steroid hormones like, and another hormone is progesterone, together, okay, but primarily because of the LH surge will have two effects. One is it will cause hyperemia. Hyperemia yani? Hyper yani? Increase. Emia yani? Blood. More blood flow in that particular region. Okay? Hyperemia of the eye, hyperemia of the skin. You can have these terms. So it will cause follicular hyperemia. Okay? One thing. So now, whenever the blood vessels are vasodilated, you know vasodilation, vasoconstriction.
Yes.
So vasodilation is there in the follicle. So now, if vasodilation is there, usually dilated blood vessels will release fluid from inside the blood vessel to the outside because it is dilated. You know, it's dilated. So vasodilation will lead to fluid accumulating outside. So it will cause follicular hyperemia and prostaglandin secretion. Prostaglandin, another chemical substance, which will cause plasma transudation into the follicle. Just now I explained this to you. Vasodilation causes fluid from inside the blood vessel to go out. What is the fluid inside? Plasma. Transudation to go out. Transudate. Okay? Into the follicle. Leading to, now if the fluid is coming inside the follicle from the blood, the follicle will swell. It will become bigger, swollen, then leading to follicular swelling. The follicular swelling itself will cause the follicular rupture. This is one effect. Another effect is proteolytic enzymes. Enzymes which cause lysis of proteins. proteolytic enzymes. Lytic, break down proteo of the proteins. Okay, so proteolytic, like collagenase. A is for any enzyme, as you must be knowing, isn't it? For what? For collagen. Collagen is protein in nature. It forms, structural. It maintains the structural integrity. Collagen. So collagenase enzyme, if it is there, it will also, because it is lysis, it is causing rupture, isn't it? So it will weaken the follicular wall, degeneration of the area called as the stigma. Stigma is that particular point in the follicle which will rupture and lead to the follicular rupture. And rupture means after the rupture, evagination of the ovum. Evagination means going out, giving out, pushing out. Okay? That's how ovulation occurs. Now, the egg is going out into the abdomen, but the arrangement is such that if you, the arrangement is such that the ovary, even though they are abdominal and they are connected by ligaments, etc., they are completely covered as such by the fimbrial end of the fallopian tube. You know fallopian tubes? They are coming from the uterus, isn't it? Right and left fallopian tube. They are tubes, but at the end they become, like they have finger-like projections. The tube convert, and this is called as the fimbria, like an umbrella. Okay, so that is the nearest thing I can use, like an umbrella. Okay, and this is covering the ovary. It's literally covering like this. So if you remove it, or if you take it away a little bit, the egg that is coming out, it is coming out where? In the abdomen. There is nothing for the egg. It can go anywhere. Right? Literally it can go anywhere. And this is, this tells me, let me tell you about ectopic pregnancy. Ectopic pregnancy. That pregnancy which occurs not inside the uterus, anywhere in the abdomen. This egg, sometimes, very rarely, ectopic pregnancies occur, and it is very painful, it is very troublesome for the couple, for the husband and the wife. Ectopic pregnancy, it will grow there, isn't it? It's a cell, it doesn't know where it is. It's a cell. It will go and stick. Sometimes, the usual site of ectopic pregnancy is the fallopian tube itself. Okay? So, the egg is given out into the abdomen, but because of the typical arrangement of the fallopian tubes, and there is a current also, there is a fluid, and the current of the fluid, the movement of the fluid is such that it is going inside the fallopian tube, towards the uterus. And there is cilia. You know cilia? The hair-like. So the cilia are also there, which are beating. Their beating movement is towards the uterus. So all of these arrangements, they do not allow the egg to go anywhere else. In fact, it is, as soon as it comes out, it is sucked into the fimbrial end of the fallopian tube and will go into the fallopian tube. One of the common site of ectopic pregnancy is the fallopian tube itself. Because actually, where does fertilization occur?
In fallopian tube.
In the fallopian tube. The sperms, they will come from the cervix of the uterus, body of the uterus into the fallopian tube. And the egg is coming into the fallopian tube. And fertilization will occur there. Sometimes it will implant the egg cell. That is called as ectopic pregnancy. Very rarely it can implant outside the fallopian tube also. That is also called as ectopic pregnancy. Anyway, so it is swept into the fallopian by the fimbria. Okay, and in some women during ovulation there is a characteristic pain called as Mittelschmerz. It's a German name, I think so. There may be some light mid-cycle bleeding because of too many hormones. In the 14th day, LH is in excessive quantity. Estrogen is in excessive quantity. Yes, what do you want?
لا يا شباب. Esa. اسمع سمع إسلام خلص والله.
Okay, so understand the interplay of hormones. Understand the interplay of hormones, everyone. I have completed the class. That's it, yeah, isn't it? So this is the luteal phase. Two things can occur after the hormone has come out. The egg has come out. Two things can occur. Either it will be fertilized or it will not be fertilized. Right? If it's not fertilized, it will continue through the fallopian tube into the uterus.
Yes.
Okay? If it has fertilized, then the blastocyst, this fertilized structure is called as a blastocyst. And the blastocyst will implant itself 6 to 12 days after ovulation. It will take 6 to 12 days to go to the uterus, and then it will stick there, implantation. It will secrete a hormone called as human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG. Okay? That pregnancy tests can measure. In the absence of a pregnancy, this and without HCG, the HCG, okay, and the progesterone from the corpus luteum. In a non-pregnant female, the corpus luteum becomes corpus albicans, it becomes degenerate. Lekin if there is pregnancy, if there is fertilization, the corpus luteum will grow, secrete more and more progesterone. Not only that, the blastocyst will secrete human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG. So progesterone and HCG will maintain the pregnancy.
Okay.
Now, there is no fertilization. No fertilization, so corpus luteum becomes corpus albicans. Progesterone level goes down drastically. Okay? In the absence of a pregnancy and without HCG, corpus luteum demises. Demises, dies. Okay? And inhibin and progesterone levels, they will fall drastically. This is called as progesterone withdrawal. Progesterone withdrawal. And it leads to menstrual shedding. Shedding meaning falling down. The uterine endometrium, it was supported with progesterone. If progesterone is not there, there is nothing to support the structure.
It will degenerate.
And the structure will
Degenerate.
fall. It will slough off. And now this structure contains many blood vessels. So there will be
Blood
bleeding.
bleeding.
Okay, got it, everyone? And the bleeding. Where did we start from? We started from bleeding, isn't it?
Yes.
From menses, then proliferation, there follicle, there on this side proliferation, on that side follicular growth, then ovulation, then on this side luteal, on that side secretory, then bleeding, then again FSH, and the same cycle repeats again and again. Okay, and this is how it appears. That's it. I have finished my class. This picture is for hormonal control. I have described the hormonal control to you in detail. It gives the levels here of FSH, LH, estrogen, progesterone. Okay? This picture is gonadal control. Gonads. What are gonads? The ovaries. In the males, the testes. These are called as the gonads. Okay? The pituitary control. The FSH is coming from pituitary, isn't it? So, pituitary and hypothalamus. These are all pictures of the same picture. Actually, in this picture, the whole class can be finished in this picture, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. These are the hormones. This is the ovarian. This is the FSH, this is estrogen, and this is uterine cycle. So, the last slide actually is a summary of the whole lecture.